Hey guys, we are here with former WBO champion Chris Algieri. Chris, it's great to see you. Obviously, we're living this difficult situation. COVID-19, it's affected all of us in different ways. Talk to me a little bit about how you've been affected. How's life been for you these past few weeks?
Yeah, this is a little bit of the new normal for now, right? Speaking this way and not seeing a whole lot of people in person. But, it's I can't believe it's coming up on almost 2 months already. But, I was in New York at the time when it first kind of hit. And as soon as it did, I shot myself down to South Florida. So I've been able to keep up quite a bit in terms of, getting outside and
Yeah.
getting in my exercises and my training. It's been a lot easier here than it would have been if I was in New York. But it's definitely a big change.
Right.
Not being able to be in the gyms, not being able to see, my coaches or my friends and whatnot, or even my family. It's been very different than what I'm used to.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen you in the ring. You're also an author. You're a nutritionist. You're a play-by-play announcer with Top Rank. And I mean, I've seen you. You're still cooking, but even just the announcing, like everything was just taken away from us. How surreal was that for you?
Yeah, I actually had a few dates with Top Rank and ESPN that were scheduled for April and into May, and obviously everything got canceled, and it was a bummer. I
Yeah.
really enjoy commentating, so anytime I'm not able to do that, I'm not able to work, it sucks.
Right.
but
Right.
but I've been able, like you said, with some of the other things that I do, from the speaking engagements, from my nutrition and for human performance and sports performance, I've actually been able to stay pretty busy doing webinars and talks and seminars and things like that. So that's kept me a little bit sane. And then also cooking. I really do enjoy cooking and I love to cook. So I've had a lot of time to be home and make my own food.
That's really good. That I when talking to people, I've noticed that they've been, if you're stuck at home, uh, they've been taking advantage and trying to see the positive part, if you will, from the situation, from spending more time with the family, or just cooking more at home, or just
Hmm.
if you have a busy schedule, if you're traveling to a lot of boxing matches, just being able to relax more at home. So we have to look at the positive in this chaotic situation that we're at. But I want to go back a little in time and go
Hmm.
back to, of course, June 14th, 2014, when pretty much a lot of the boxing world did not give you much of a chance against Ruslan Provodnikov, and you proved everybody wrong, especially after that gruesome first round where you went down twice, I believe, right? You went down
Hmm.
twice. You had the big cut on the eye,
Hmm.
but you fought through it and obviously came with the victory, became world champion. How difficult was it to fight with one eye?
Yeah, that so not many people gave us a chance in that fight, like you said.
Yeah.
Everyone who was kind of leading up to it, I was a huge underdog. But myself and my team, we truly believed that we were going to be victorious that night. We had a great game plan. I was in phenomenal shape. I was mentally and physically as prepared as I possibly could be. And that first round, I just made a mistake. I got hit with a shot that I shouldn't have. And something that we had actually trained for. But in life, same thing in boxing. You make a mistake, you pay for it. And I paid big when you got a guy like Ruslan Provodnikov in front of you, who is absolutely a great champion and a really, really tough guy. So, for me that night, I had it in my mind going into that fight. I wasn't losing. I wasn't leaving that night without that belt. So that was really just kind of my mindset. Even when everything was going wrong in that first round, I just thought in my head, I got to get up. I got to get back to what the game plan is. Um, the second knockdown, I actually took a knee because I still couldn't see. I couldn't see
Right.
it at both eyes, and when I first got hit, the eye obviously that was damaged, but it just everything was really blurry. So I just saw I saw like an outline of his body coming at me, and he's so dangerous in terms of his punching. I couldn't defend myself because I couldn't see. So I took that knee, not knowing if the vision was going to come back or not. Thank God it did. I remember, finally starting to see the referee as he's counting in my face, and I was like, okay, I can see now, and if I can see, I can fight. So I went back to the corner, and my coach said something to me. He goes, "Don't worry about it. You still have your front eye," meaning I can see the right hand's coming. It's my
Yeah.
back eye. I just have to protect it, stay a little more sideways, a little more bladed off of my stance, and I could protect that eye as long as I can see out of that front eye. And it was strange. It was like as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Okay, we're good. Everything's fine. I can see out of my eye. I can protect the back eye." I've got this. I know how to win this fight. And that just kind of was the right thing they say at the right time. It just locked everything right back into place.
Right. What do you say to those young fighters that are coming up and they will eventually perhaps have a difficult situation where they have to face and have some obstacle that you don't really plan for, but like you were mentioning, the mentality had something to had a great deal to do with this, where you have to just be so sure of your abilities and knowing that you could win. So what message, what advice do you have for all those fighters?
At some point in your career, it's going to happen. You're going to be in a situation that is going to test your will, test your resolve, and you're going to have to dig down deep and decide if this is really what you want to do or not. That's the reality of boxing, and it's the reality of life. Nothing is easy. Nothing worth doing. No kind of success comes easy. It comes easier to some than others, but everyone has a story. Everyone has a hardship, and unfortunately, mine hit me literally in the biggest stage of my career in the first round. But I had the answers. I had been there already in my mind. I had seen what was going to happen. I had seen the worst of it in my mind. I had seen the best of it. So I think that mental preparation leading up to that fight and seeing myself winning that fight over and over and over again in my mind, and seeing all the different scenarios of how things could happen. I didn't predict that one, but being able to be okay and be calm in the eye of the storm, I think is a tremendous, tremendous skill set to have if you want to be a champion.
Absolutely. And of course, after that victory, doors open and you were able to fight a legendary fighter in Manny Pacquiao over in Macau. I actually went to that fight. I was lucky enough to be there at the Venetian Hotel. And
beautiful place.
It was absolutely beautiful. Obviously, things didn't go the way you planned, but it was still a great, big fight, great experience overall. Even I remember the tour that you guys did around the world. Like everything was extravagant for this big fight.
Yep.
What do you remember? How do you sum up, like from your point of view, this fight against Manny Pacquiao?
It's funny. People ask me a lot about that fight. Obviously, because it's a huge stage, and again, fighting a legend, like you said. I don't think of it as a fight. I think of it as an experience, because the whole thing, like you said, that the press tour, the 7 countries, the flying, first class and private jets all over the place. Being around my opponent so much before a fight was so new to me as well. And just being surrounded by everything. I went from literally fighting in my hometown 8 months earlier to fighting in Macau, someplace I'd never even dreamed of going. I'm across the world taking a 20-hour flight multiple times. And it was a surreal experience. It wasn't just the fight. There was so much leading up to it. The training camp in Las Vegas, meeting celebrities and traveling a ton, and going over there and the exposure. I had nothing like that in my mind. I had prepared so much to be a champion, but I never really looked at it as something to be famous. I wanted to be a world champion because I'm a boxer and I love to fight. The fame and the money was a whole other thing that I never really thought that much about, because it wasn't really, it's not in the forefront of your mind. Maybe some, but not for me. So a lot of that was brand new, and it is what it is. It happened the way it happened. It's just part of the experience, part of my life story.
What was the thing that surprised you the most from Manny Pacquiao in the fight? Because a lot of people talk about his speed and power. What was it the most that surprised you?
Yeah, no, the speed is absolutely, he's tremendous. But I fought Amir Khan as well, another guy super fast. But it wasn't so much the speed; it was his angles. Everything, the punches where they came, the angles that they came from, are so difficult to see or to time, and he hit hard too. I thought I would be in positions where I was safe, but he was still able to generate a tremendous amount of power. So I think it was just that. It was just surprising about him throwing punches from the angles that he did.
Now, right now, you're riding a 4-year, undefeated streak where you beat Tommy Coyle. You were also on the Joshua Reese card on June 1st, coming up, 1 year from that. Do you feel close to another potential opportunity for a title at 140?
I did. I really did until all this hit. I expected, a title eliminator. That fight with Tommy Coyle was a title eliminator, and the winner was looking to get a fight with Maurice Hooker, who was the WBO champion at the time. And there was a lot of talk about that going into that fight. So that was kind of what I was eyeing. You know, I knew I had a tough guy in front of me in Tommy, but I was kind of looking on for the title fight with Hooker. Subsequently, Hooker obviously took the fight with JC Ramirez, and he ended up losing that fight, which kind of put me out of the talks a little bit, especially because Ramirez had injured his hand, needed surgery, had a couple mandatories. So, at that time, I felt very much like I was close, and I think that we are moving towards, that opportunity somewhat again down the line. And then now we're here with COVID, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the future in terms of when things are going to really start up and how we're going to have to resume moving forward.
I know it's so it's a difficult situation right now where we don't know exactly, what's happening to those fights that got canceled, that got kind of postponed, and where everybody else just lies, because obviously at 140, like you mentioned, you have the title holders in Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor, but also Mario Barrios, who holds the regular WBA title.
Right.
So where do you feel that you mix in with these guys with opportunities to be able to face them?
Yeah, no, I think we're right there. I mean, I'm undefeated at 140. I never lost that WBO title in a fight. So I feel like I still need a piece of that. That belt is something. I didn't lose the fight. I moved up and they stripped me. When I moved up to fight Manny Pacquiao at welterweight to fight for his WBO welterweight title. So I didn't have the chance to ever defend that belt. And I feel like that's really in my mind's eye about what I want.
Right. When you were talking about Manny Pacquiao's his angles, you also fought Amir Khan and Errol Spence. I know there's a lot of people that compare Errol Spence to Manny Pacquiao's, like his fighting abilities. Do you see any similarities? How would you compare them?
Honestly, I don't. And even people may have compared the speed of Khan and Manny, and it's always different. They're very different. Spence is just he's much stronger, physically stronger. Yeah. Maybe not as like his punches aren't as fast or as powerful as maybe Manny Pacquiao. Like power, I think of like speed and surprising. That's how I think about that. Right. But Spence is just physically strong in every way. Much bigger guy physically, taller, longer. Will probably end up in higher weight classes as his career progresses. But Spence was much more almost kind of traditional in his style. He's he actually has a much better technique than people give him credit for. Very good with his angles in and out, more linear than Pacquiao, who Pacquiao was much more, angles and cutting to the side, whatever. Spence is much more linear, forward and back. But just very well schooled, Olympian, and you can tell he had a big amateur background, and it shows in the pros.
Would you be interested in seeing in Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence fight? And if that happens, what do you think we would see?
I'd be surprised if that fight were to happen, because I know that Freddie has talked in the past about having concern about fighting like really big welterweights. But I mean, Manny, it looked great against Keith Thurman. I was so impressed with that fight. Manny Pacquiao is something special, so I'll never count him out in a fight, but that's an interesting fight. And I think it's a really tough fight for Pacquiao. I think Spence is not only is he, Manny beat Margarito, who is, a much bigger guy too, but he's not the skill set of an Errol Spence. Errol Spence is an undefeated, young, hungry world champion. It's a very difficult fight for Pacquiao.
Absolutely. And I like to get your thoughts on, of course, this big trilogy that we were supposed to see in July, and now there's talks about it happening in October. Of course, in Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder going back at it for the third time. Are you more interested in seeing that, or would you prefer to see the UK undisputed fight between Fury and Anthony Joshua?
I would prefer to see Fury and Joshua, but I don't think the third fight shouldn't be done, because I think Wilder is supremely dangerous in every fight, no matter what. I don't think we saw the best version of him last fight. Not that matters. I think Tyson Fury is phenomenal and fought a great fight that night and completely dominated. But as long as Wilder is standing, he's got a chance, because he has that eraser. He's an incredible puncher. I think he's the single most devastating one-punch fighter we've ever seen in heavyweight history. So I don't want to not see that fight either. Right. But I do want to see what happens if Joshua and Tyson mix it up. And this is why the heavyweight division is so exciting right now. We've got these different styles, these different characters, different personalities, and it looks like they're going to fight each other. So it's a very good time for boxing right now.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen that the first time with Wilder and Fury was a draw, even though a lot of people say that they saw Fury outboxing Wilder. The second time,
I did too.
You did too? Okay, there you go. Second time, Fury left it to no controversy, no nothing, just very
No
obvious
questions.
there. Right. Do you see the UK unification between Fury and Joshua as a 50-50 fight, or do you give the edge to one of them?
I give the edge to Fury. I think momentum is a huge part of this sport, and Fury, you couldn't have more momentum than anybody right now. I think, and I've been around him, and just his mindset and his mental, his kind of mental aura at the moment. He's going to be a difficult guy to beat for anyone. You know, he's big, he's talented, he's got a style that's we've really never seen before in a heavyweight. So yeah, I think he's a tough fight for anybody. But I'm a huge Anthony Joshua fan and have been for a long time. I think he is a phenomenal heavyweight champion. He looks the part. If I was going to literally make a heavyweight champion in a video game, I'd make Anthony Joshua. So, you know, having those two styles match up, I think is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, right. What are your thoughts on Canelo facing Golovkin for the third time? A lot of people don't want to see that fight because they see that the age difference has just kind of caught up, you know, to Golovkin. Do you want to see that third fight?
I do, because it'll be a nail in the coffin for it. You know, I see Canelo winning that fight. And I see him being, you know, quite dominant. And I think it kind of closes that chapter. But I think there's better fights for sure out there. But hey, I never count Triple G out of a good fight. You know, even if he does lose and loses convincingly, I think he's still going to be in there, and he's still a super talented guy.
Right. Well, just a couple of weeks ago, we should have been, you know, most of us would have been in Vegas for the Canelo fight. We should have fought Billy Joe Saunders. Do you think that Billy Joe can complicate things for Canelo?
Yes, I do. Stylistically, I think he's really difficult. He's big and fast, and I don't want to say he's not a risk taker, but the way he fights is he's smart. He fights very, very smart. He doesn't overextend himself stylistically, and I think that Canelo prefers guys when they stand right in front of him, and he wants to have that trading, countering position and control the distance. And you got a guy like Billy Joe, who I think is a naturally larger man. He is very athletic in his stance and his style. So I think Billy Joe he's a difficult fight for anyone. So I think he could definitely complicate things for Canelo.
Yeah. And speaking of a complicated fight, of course, we have Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. I know things are kind of on hold right now. Everything's on hold, but that's the fight that everyone's talking about, you know, happening next. Mm-hmm. Wow. Looking into that fight, there's a lot of mixed feelings. Do you see it 50-50, or do you give the edge to what many people are giving the edge to Lomachenko?
Yeah, so that fight is very interesting, especially after Teofimo's last fight against Richard Comey. I was so impressed with Teofimo that night. For him to do what he did to such a dangerous guy in the fashion that he did it is so impressive. And if I see Linares hitting Lomachenko with that right hand and putting him down, I see Teofimo putting him to sleep. It's a different thing. He's a bigger guy. He's younger. He's more explosive than Linares is coming up multiple weight classes to fight at 135. But Teofimo is a big, strong lightweight who's going to be, you know, ending up in other weight classes as well. So it's a super interesting fight. I think that the angles and the style of Lomachenko, he's a nightmare for anyone. His ability to stay away from power punches and to read guys and to pick up on any kind of mistake you make is uncanny. But Teofimo, man, he's got one punch power, so it makes it a real fight, and one that I'm excited to see.
Absolutely, and I know Teofimo has mentioned that he wants to move up to 140. So I really, really hope that this fight can be done before he moves
Mhm.
up. It's a fight that we all want to see. You mentioned that you saw him fight. You've been commenting with Top Rank alongside with Christina Pancha for some time now.
Mhm.
Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
How did you get into commenting with Top Rank?
It's funny. I commentated a kickboxing event, a very large kickboxing event, and I did it with Bruce Beck. Bruce Beck was the blow by blow, and I was the color analyst. And I got it because of Bruce Beck. Bruce Beck had he was actually calling Mick Conlan's pro debut in a theater in Madison Square Garden, and he was going to be the blow by blow guy, and he was asked who he wanted to have by his side for the color, and he mentioned me. So I got called, and I came in, and we did it, and we had a great time. And Bruce taught me so much. He's pretty much like my mentor in this commentating thing. And it just went from there. I kept getting calls from Top Rank, and I'm blessed to be able to do it and work with such an amazing company and amazing people. And I'm so happy to see Christina Pancha, because she's absolutely killing it. She's trailblazing, her position, and she gets better every show. So really looking forward to more shows in the future.
Definitely. I look forward to seeing you guys back in action really, really soon. I hope that we get our boxing back, and we're able to see you inside the ring and outside commenting as well. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really, really appreciate it. I want to wish you the best of luck in everything with your book. Where can we find your book real quick?
Amazon.com. It's The Fighter's Kitchen. It's on Amazon. It comes in like 2 or 3 days. So check it out. Appreciate it.
I will. Thank you so much. I'll check that out, and stay safe, and look forward to seeing you really, really